the most in-depth videos on YouTube showing you the exact way how to shallow, taken from some of the best players in the world to provide you with top-level drills, tips, and feels that you need to be utilizing in order to get that correct feeling that all elite level ball strikers have. First, we need to discuss what is the difference between actually shallowing the golf club in the downswing compared to steepening. Both of these elements are seen in the everyday golfer. By steepening the golf club, this is when the shaft tends to get more vertical in the downswing. The butt of the club points more down to the golf ball, and as we deliver it down into the ground, the golfer will be more entailed to jumping up to create space or having secondary tilts, a last-second compensation in order to hit the golf ball. As a result, a golfer who tends to come down more steep on the ball will have heel toe strikes, they'll have steeper divots, and they'll also have a more fade bias pattern with the golf ball flaring out to the right if you are a right-handed golfer, compared to the golfer who tends to get the club more shallow, which is when the shaft is delivering more horizontal to the golf ball. This is setting up an environment for me to be able to rotate more free through the golf ball. Now let's talk about what causes the golf club to steepen instead of having that shallow look in transition. Usually what happens is the club will tend to work too inside the start, and as a result of this deep inside takeaway, as we begin to load it up to the top here, the weight of the club head is now going to go in this direction as a result of the inside takeaway. That's the first cause. The second cause could be due to a weak club face. Whenever I fix a person's over the top or a steep problem in transition, I always look at what is the face strength. Is the face open in the backswing? Is it shut? Most slicers of the golf ball are entailed to have a very weak club face at the top of their golf swing. From here, their body recognizes that they're weak, either from a cupped wrist or the club face pointing in this direction, and then from there, they will throw the golf club out as a response to that weak club face. So weak club face is number two. Number three, poor body lines, your alignment. A lot of slicers of the golf ball, people who tend to get over the top and steep in transition, have very bad body lines or poor ball position. When setting up to the golf ball, we want to make sure that we are not too far forward in our stance. The more forward we put it in our stance, the more left we're going to swing on the arc of the golf swing. So make sure that your driver or your irons are not too far up in your stance and that your ball position is just maybe a little bit more back. This is going to help you hit more from the inside of the golf ball in the swing arc. Another way that people slice the golf ball has to do with dropping back their left foot too much, having their body lines pointing in this direction. These can be considered the railroad tracks of the golf swing. If we are too open to the target, that's going to cause us to have a very vertical backswing, and then we're going to swing down our stance line, causing us to have that outside in path, which we want to avoid. The last cause has to do with a poor sequence of the body. Most golfers who slice or get over the top tend to have their upper body being thrown on top of the golf ball to start. Great golfers lead with their lower body first. The upper body unit will never get ahead of the lower body unit. The lower body will always be leading down to the golf ball. So we talked about the causes. Let's get to the fix. First, let's worry about the club face. Let's make sure that your face is strong enough. We're going to do this with a few different options. Number one, is your grip too weak? With a very weak grip, this is going to make it tough for you to get that face in a strong position unless you add something called flexion with the knuckles back. This is another modernized term that golfers use. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, they tend to get in a strongish wrist set, which allows their face to be in a strengthening position at the top of their swings. As we discussed, a weak club face can cause your slice and steepening move in transition. Fix the face first before you fix the path when it comes to improving your slice and steepening the club. Let's get into the shallowing mechanism. How are we going to shallow? There is 100 ways in order to shallow the golf club. I'm going to give you my top 5 feels that I've learned from some of the best instructors in the world. Let's start with how the body and how the club works in terms of shallowing the golf club. As we discussed in the prior minutes of the video, most slices happen when the golf club gets too deep, and that causes a reaction of going over the top. So what we need to do is change that pattern. Get that club working more vertical and then let it drop in transition. This is going to do the exact opposite movement, which is going to promote a little bit more of that shallowing motion. So you can feel in that takeaway position that you're hinging the club a little bit more outside the hands, getting the shaft very vertical, and then it's going to make it so much easier for you to be able to drop that club behind your right shoulder, and then you can turn and fire your body hard with the correct face strength. So you've done everything correct at going to the top of your golf swing. From point A to point B, everything is perfect. How do we get this club to not get steep and to go shallow into this position? Another great way is something called external shoulder rotation. For all my baseball players out there, this could be the best feeling for you in order to shallow the golf club. Put your trail arm out in front of you like this. Put your left hand behind your right elbow and then pull this forward. You go up to the top of your swing and you feel this trail arm going more under. And as you can see, when I do that, that's going to help put that shaft pitch a little bit more horizontal to the ground. I can allow my right side to go down to the golf ball and I can rotate out of the way freely. So external shoulder rotation is another way in order to shallow the golf club. The third way to shallow the golf club has to do with you feeling like the hands and the trail arm are just dropping down to the hip. I did a video on Instagram and TikTok about a month ago, got over 1 million views, about the visualization of having a wall to the right side of you and is letting the hands drop down the wall into the right pocket. If you ever seen the video, which I'll put in the link in the description, about Justin Rose, he said that he feels his hands dropping into his right pocket before his body has the ability to turn and to rotate out of the way.
Put the club in a position where I can now turn and then that club gets a free ride into impact.
That's going to allow him to get into the slot into a proper delivery position. Then he can rotate and he knows he's going to be on plane and right into the slot to make an efficient motion into the golf ball. The last feeling has to do with what your thumbs are doing. Having the feeling of both thumbs going behind your trail shoulder is another really good way to get that shaft to shallow in transition. Then you can rotate through the golf ball. Instead of the person who gets steep, the thumbs tend to point more towards the sky, which we don't want. So in transition, think thumbs behind trail shoulder, and that'll easily shallow the club. Okay, so we talked about shallow feels. This is another disclaimer. If you're going to shallow the golf club, you must be able to rotate your body out of the way. Without rotation and you're shallowing, that club is now going to be stuck. You're going to hit these blocks out to the right or these big hooks due to your right side getting too underneath in this direction. So you've got to make sure if you're going to shallow it and that the face is stronger, that you're going to rotate your left pec and your left hip out of the way in transition. Okay, so we talked about feels. Let's get to the drills. I'm about to give you some of the best drills that I've accumulated over the years from top coaches across the world. The first one is doing 20% swings, feeling the club going from vertical and then working from behind you. It should look like this. Let the shaft work vertical, going from steep, then it can go shallow. The whole goal of this is I'm hitting the golf ball at 20% speed. When improving your golf swing, you must do slow motion reps first. This helps your body understand the motor pattern that you're trying to ingrain compared to you hitting 100% swings. That's one of the most important elements in order to change your golf swings efficiently, is just doing these slow motion reps. The next great drill has to do with external shoulder rotation. What you can do is put the club behind your trail arm and feel as if this trail elbow is going more underneath. That is the exact same feeling of getting that right side down, but having this trail arm go into external shoulder rotation to help shallow that club. The last drill has to do with putting a head cover just on the outside of the golf ball. If you swing over the top and your hands get thrown, you're going to hit this golf club. If you're able to shallow the golf club in transition and swing more from the inside, you are going to miss that object in front of you. By doing drills, by avoiding objects, this is a great way for you to have instant feedback on whether you're doing the pattern right or if you're doing it wrong. It's So there you have it. That is the exact way that you need to shallow the golf club with a step-by-step video. You should have a holistic approach in order to change your swing and to shallow more efficiently. If you like videos like this, I just posted something on being across the line, which could be another detrimental move to your golf swing. So I ask you to watch it right after this video. Click the link right there, and I'll see you next time.